good evening, and welcome to this edition of pregame show for the women's national team, and they will face off against Costa Rica later this evening in less than an hour, gentlemen. I'm your host, Earl Basting. Joining me are co-hosts Garrett Punchy Dill and Andrew Griffith. Gentlemen, let's start off with what the anticipation is for you for tonight from the Bermuda women's team. And Punchy, you could actually start.
Oh, but this is a real test for them. This is going to be a real test. We spoke earlier before we came on about the Costa Rican lineup, who's on the team, who the girls are playing, and I just thought that this team is ranked fourth, I think, in the CONCACAF region.
Yeah.
So you know that there's
third in the CONCACAF region.
Third in the CONCACAF, okay,
Mm-hmm.
but you know that there's quality there. For me, the expectations for especially Bermuda would be as usual. You're going to be it's a difficult opponent, but conceding early, be very, very defensively tight,
Mm-hmm.
and probably will be interesting is how they're going to play in the first 10 or 15 minutes of counterattack. That's what I would think should be once you feel the opposition out. And once after 10 minutes, coaching staff can look at it and say that maybe this is what we do. And if you have to make changes right away, nobody had to make changes. I'm not talking about changing players, but maybe changing technical moves.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this is a real tonight. It's going to be a real gauge for us as Bermuda, the international scene, the girls in our region, just how far we've come.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Griff, what's your thoughts?
I agree with Punchy. The opponents, a lot of them, we fought at World Cup experience. A lot of them playing in high level professional leagues. So collectively, they should be a very strong unit, and will really test Bermuda. So looking forward to a good game. I think a lot of the stuff that we said for the men's qualifying, just to reiterate what Punchy said, is making sure we don't concede the early goal, and we have to try to sort out, because most of the teams that are a little better than us have quicker players. We have to nullify the speed, and they have bigger, stronger players. So we have to work out how we're going to manage that and help one another. So I'm interested to see how the coaches will deploy the team to try to counteract what they are doing. And I'm hoping deep down inside that the women can avenge what happened to the under-20s yesterday against Costa Rica.
When you look at the conditions, which will play a major factor into tonight's game, that been here at the National Sports Center, it's up. We know usually we talk about it, but Griff, what would you do if you win the toss? Are you going to try and defend that big breeze the first half and try to get something in the second, or do you go vice versa?
I think if you think their players are bigger and stronger, I would say fight against the win when we still have more of our strength in first half.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's when we seem to dip, and if we're not as fit or as fast, the win may be able to help us in the second half. So if we can keep it to 0-0, then maybe we could squeak out something with the help of the win in the second half. That's my goal.
The unfortunate thing is this is in Ward.
Wait,
Punchy, what would you do?
I would think, maybe we should take. I probably have a different opinion about that. I think maybe we should go with them in the first half and see if we can get on top of them and take advantage of the win helping us. But also, what also will be important to tonight, because the conditions, it's kind of chilly out there.
Yes.
Maybe this might be uncomfortable for them.
Right.
If they could pay each other those young boys books like yesterday,
Mm-hmm.
the work they put in off the ball and closing out spaces against the Costa Ricans,
Mm-hmm.
that would I would be looking for tonight. And then once you do win the ball, how effective are you counterattack?
Yes.
So if the top player for Costa Rica is in Kansas City for preseason. This ain't cool.
She might be the only one.
Yeah. I don't think she's coming out in gloves.
But the thing that we often look for from the local standpoint is the team looking and playing as a unit. And I think the more they play in front of the local crowd, I think they will get comfortable in doing that, because we often say what happens a lot of times is a lot of local players start listening to people, that familiar voices in the crowd, and you know, I think not so much the girls or the women, you know, we just need to make sure that the coaches have the finger on the pulse, and like you say, Punchy, changing things tactically early when you think it's not going the way you're supposed to go. The other thing is and which is really, really important, is not giving up those free kicks early in the danger areas. We have to be mindful of that, and just make sure that we have players providing the backup, you know, understanding that if a player's having a little difficult time with a player, we give a little more help on that side, kind of thing. It's just a small awareness, but I think you will see somebody on the field establish who's in charge on the field. And I think since Ava's been the captain, she's been very vocal to the girls to help the girls and to keep them motivated, kind of thing. And then when you have other players such as Kenny Thompson, you have Danny Watson, you have all these girls who have been around each other for so long that could feel free to speak up and encourage others. I think that's what's going to help this team tonight.
Yeah, I think that's very important also. But also, again, watching the young boys play yesterday, the young 20s, and what they did earlier is denied space for Costa Rica to play out of the back.
Right.
And of course, they kept a high line. And in that half, I did say, Costa Rica had over 7 offsides in the first half against us. The line was good. I really don't think so. I watched the game with that team, Costa Rica play against Barbados, and they were able to play through the lines. That was difficult last night against us. So maybe that also could be a ploy for the women in terms of if you're going to allow them to play out the back, they're going to play out the back. Then what do you send them high? Do you go press high but leave space in behind, or you drop off and wait at certain areas of the field that you know that you can win the ball and counter attack? That would be, again, how the coaches are going to set the team up.
Right.
Yeah.
Some of that though is player ability, because if you've been together as a back line and you play together and you have some faith in each other, you will hold that line.
Right.
All it takes is for one person to be scared of the pace of the player on the side, and they drop, and that trap is done. You can't play it anymore, and they're in. So I think it requires a lot of communication and trust.
Well, yeah, very good. You're right too, Griff. The other thing was, again, when you keep looking at the game last night, Costa Rica scored early too, didn't they?
Yeah.
10th, 11th minute. But I still think that the way Bermuda defensively set up, and the pressure that they put on the Costa Rican backline, not being able to play safe, was really worked well. Costa Rica started running out of ideas.
Yeah.
And then we were also winning the 50-50 balls also. So let's say again the girls. What would be important is first, because as we speak about all the time about playing against these countries that don't have a goal, concede a goal early in the game. It could deflate you very well. It could deflate you easy. So it's important that they don't concede early.
Right.
And just be very mindful that what Coach Keto was saying, and that's she was saying about also respectful, but also showing a little bit of courage, the way show courage, and I thought that's what this young man showed a lot last night.
That takes a lot of character when you're down early to stick with what you were doing and to try to come back from it. So that's one thing that they'll learn about themselves tonight when they face adversity. What do they do? That's what the coaching staff and the players.
The good thing about that, and two valid points, is that this team, the majority of these girls have been together since they were 15. And you will recall, I think it was 10 years ago, they lost 25-0 to USA. They were still kind of learning how to play together, and they take on a USA team that's far superior. But I think those type of moments that they had back then will be things that they would remind themselves about, that we went through this period. We went through where we played the top team, and we took our loss. But now we're 10 years later, we've grown to something else. Not saying that there's going to be another. There will be another challenge tonight, because you're going up against the third ranked country in our region.
Who's 1 and 2?
USA and Mexico.
So they're ranked ahead of Canada.
Yes. No, I'm sorry. USA and Canada. Mexico are 4th.
Oh, wow.
And remember, we played Mexico last year, didn't we? In the under-20 women, and that was a battle. So the gap is closing, but we still have, because we don't play a Costa Rica all the time. We haven't played a Jamaica in a while, Panama, those type of teams. When we play them on a regular basis, that gap will get a lot smaller, because our girls will get the experience even from a young age, and they'll learn how to fight through all the trials and tribulations of what goes through. I just want the girls tonight to show that heart and passion. What comes about it, it is what it is. However, I just think for them, because they still have another game next month, and something to build on. They started off with that win against Cayman Islands. They ended up losing their next match, and here they are playing against another big country in the region, and it's an opportunity to build on that.
Very, very well. You're absolutely right, though. I totally agree with you about closing the gap.
Mhm.
It's going to take time.
Yes.
Right. We're still, even though we are acknowledging the fact that we're a small country,
Mm-hmm.
right? But now, once we are looking at like you were saying now,
Yeah.
this is just one step. We're
One
getting
step.
closer.
Yeah.
We're in the conversations now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure the Costa Rica girls watched their game last night. I'm very sure.
Oh,
They
yeah.
probably watched it.
And I'm pretty sure the Bermuda girls watched it too.
Oh yeah, they watched it last night. But again, we're talking about where we're going. The country's
Mhm.
going, especially
Mhm.
with the women's football. We don't have a full-time league here.
Right.
So what again, it's building and playing against these teams like you're saying
Mm-hmm.
continuously, even if whatever happens tonight or
Yes.
in this qualifying
Yes.
round.
Mhm.
What do we do next?
And I think we talked about it before with even the 15s and the 17s and the 19s. We need to keep getting to this point. When we keep getting to this point,
Play meaningful games.
right? If we constantly fail to get to this part, then that's where the problem comes. If we're continuously getting to this round of, if we go through the World Cup in all our age groups, then guess what happens? The gap is much smaller, and confidence around the island becomes much greater, because the more you're consistent, and we all know that CONCACAF just changed the age group, so next year it's going to be under 16s. We're going to still have the under 20s, because they're lining themselves up with how FIFA's doing World Cup age groups and all that. So now there's an opportunity for our kids who will be a year older, a year more formed, because if you look around the region with our players, we are so far behind as far as, you look around, you see other teams have got bigger, stronger players. At one point in time during when they showed the teams lined up, I was like, they need to check that guy's passport, from Costa Rica, because he looked a lot, and then you heard him talk. I'm like, no, he is not under 20. But those are the type of things that we see, and we'll see it with some of our females tonight. They're still growing, where these other teams have fully grown women playing, either in their last year of college, high level D1s, or they're playing international football or professional football, we're struggling to get our girls in that environment.
Yeah.
Married picking up kids from the PTA, right?
If that's the case, then
He's a
And,
man.
that comes down to the organization of the association, making sure that they don't overlook nothing. Because you know, just look at us. We're not really big people.
No.
You
no.
know, we're not. You know.
But if you looked at yesterday's game,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
The under 20 boys were so into what they were doing. You saw a lot of times they're playing the ball into the lanes,
Yes.
and our players were able to get around the defender using speed.
Yeah.
And then in their minds, what they were doing was also cutting in front of the defender. So now the defender has to slow up or foul him to get to the ball.
I think when we talk about size and in soccer, in football, you know, that means what do you do if you're like when we guys are playing when your fullback is like 5'10",
Yeah.
or 6 feet. Like we play against Andrew Cardwell, it's like you gotta be much quicker.
Yes.
You gotta be as your craft. And so what would suit us? That's another discussion. What type of football would suit us? And I thought again getting back to what you're saying, you know, keep identifying what those young men. And remember, I want to mention that a lot of them playing overseas.
Yes.
So they are used to that pace.
Yes.
Yeah, and the tackling was good,
Mm-hmm.
right? And like you said, when the balls play through these lines, they able to turn,
Mm-hmm.
and they always looked like even when they signed forward, the young guy, the small guy that plays between these ranges.
Brunson.
Yeah.
Yeah, got it.
He stayed calm.
Mm-hmm.
He played the ball back into the midfield, then the ball would get knocked out. Right? So you could see about what they've learned.
Yes.
These men, these young men, and so it's again a question of like for us as a country identifying what we're really going to be tough at. I always say, me and my brother said this conversation, make it hard when you come to this country to play against.
Yeah.
Like when you go down to Jamaica,
Yeah.
like the tackling, the quickness of the game, you feel like you're under constant pressure.
Right.
I think that should be maybe instituted in the way we play.
Yeah. Well, let's get back to tonight's game because let's look at it. Bermuda have what we've always experienced, especially with the women, goalkeeping issues. We have a former goalkeeper back in the field, former number one goalkeeper back in the field, and then you have two other goalkeepers who are probably 5'8".
Who's the starting goalkeeper tonight?
We haven't the team hasn't been released yet. That's what I'm waiting on. But you know, just as we have that height challenge in goal, you know, we would have had Michael Porn back, but obviously she's out. Had to withdraw due to an injury. You know, they brought in Kamisha Parent-Chief late. She's been back active, working with the under 17 boys. She thinks she can, you know, offer something, even if it's just guidance to the other two goalkeepers. We have Akila and the young lady Crocker. You know, and when you look back and you see a guy or a player that the goal looks mighty with them in it, it's a worrying thing, you know, and obviously we have these conditions. It's going to be a challenge. But Griff, when you would have been playing, seeing that just because you got to have confidence in everybody, but the goalkeeper is very important.
If you see a small goalkeeper, it makes you want to shoot.
Yeah.
You try it and shoot from anywhere.
Right.
Because if you get it up in the air, they have to go get it.
Yes.
So it's almost like waving a red flag at a bull. Like you're gonna want to go at them.
Right.
And all like corners, you don't just knock the ball in the box. You put that ball on the goalkeeper and make that keeper have to do something.
Okay, so the Bermuda team is Ian, and in goal tonight is going to be Crockle. And we have Marley Christensen, Victoria Davis, we have Webb, Koa Goodchild, they're the defenders. Masters, Bringman, and Frazzoni are in the midfield. Thompson, Nia Christopher and Kiana Dill are up front. So we're playing
4-3-3.
4-3-3, which, to be honest, is what is more comfortable for Bermuda. And, how ironic that Costa Rica have Bermudez and Girl.
One day,
Can Bermudez be good to Bermuda tonight?
One day Bermudez. One day Bermudez. Wow.
Oh boy! So
Yes, sir.
it should be. I mean, if you look at, that's probably what Bermuda's going to have to.
so
Zamira Webb will have her hands full with the Herrera. Herrera is one of the players that Melissa. She's creative. She sparks. Who excels in transition. Ability to link with midfield players to attack will test Bermuda's defense. So Zamira will have her hands full there. Let's see who's going to face up against Rodriguez, who plays for Kansas City.
where is Ramirez playing?
Ramirez, okay, is not starting. She's not in the team tonight.
So you think that's probably it? She's here though.
She's in the squad, but she's not in the team tonight.
So that could only be an injury if you're carrying
Yeah.
an MLS player.
Yeah.
So we caught a break, Bermuda.
Well, that's only one because these other players are going to look to step up to show the coach that they're the next person. And that's one thing that we look at in football is that if you get half a chance, because back in the day, Punchy, a guy would sit on the bench for two seasons, but the minute he got that chance, he was out to show the coach, this is what you missed out on for all this time. And those are the type of things that I think we need to start teaching people is the patience. Because you think you're good and you deserve to play, you're going to leave this club to go play for a lesser club because they're going to allow you to play. But are you getting what you need? And that's a big thing at the national level because you look at how many teams end up playing two players that are good in one position and then try to get something out of another player from the different position in their national team. You see that from England a lot. You saw that when they had Beckham and Lampard. One of them had to go play wide.
Lampard and Gerrard.
Gerrard, yeah. Those type of things that only one of them could play because that's the natural position. If you try to put the other, now you're trying to figure out
Creating more
something.
problems.
Yeah. So your team's off balance because he's not used to playing wide. He's used to being in the middle to tackle, to pass, to get involved. So those are the type of things that, you just have to wait your time.
But see, you're talking like a graybeard.
This
This is the me generation. They want it now, and they want it on their terms.
Yeah.
So the coaching has had to change along with what players want now.
Right. But then you still got to make sure that you got the balance. You can't just if you had 5 strikers leading the league in the season, you're gonna play all 5 in your national team. Who's getting the ball? You're killing yourself because you think those 5 could score goals, but the rest of the team's off balance and giving up 6. So you lose 6-5.
Everybody gets 7.
But I think also tonight's game, I just looked at the formation 4-3-3.
Mm-hmm.
The wide players going to have to work hard up front.
Yes.
Into the midfield and to help the double team. Because we all said that we seem to be a lack of speed to our wide.
Mm-hmm.
Playing against really speedy.
The good thing about tonight is Kenny's going to draw players. Now Kiana Dill, who's got speed on the other side, has to be able to take care of that space as well as Nia Christopher. She's going to have to be able to take advantage of them shifting over to cut out a lot of what Kenny's doing on the other side. So now if Kiana has a good evening doing the same thing, now the gap in the middle becomes that much greater because they get the cover on both sides.
Well, that's another thing too. What I noticed yesterday, we were leading, and we still like it was Costa Rica had a little too much time, had a little bit too much in the midfield. The balls were passing in the midfield.
Right.
We looked outnumbered.
Mm-hmm.
I thought maybe the coach should have changed. Maybe for some time when you were up 2-1,
Mm-hmm.
brought the wide players in more and made Costa Rica go outside.
So outside. Yeah.
So and then again when we counter attack, getting the wide players to break fast
Mm-hmm.
in certain areas. So that would be also what I would think I'll be looking for tonight, defensively.
What they're gonna, I see the formation, which is 4-3-3, but I think what's gonna end up happening is Marley and Victoria, who are in the middle, will also have Kyla Bregman sitting right in front of them.
Yeah.
And that will put 3 people in the middle of the defense there when they're defending, and allow Jaden and Ava to then squeeze those other 2 players above them. But it's gonna, like you said, it's gonna be a test. But then you have the idea of people coming off the bench, Butterfield, Schiff, Fisher, Ferbert, Low Darrow, Pete Butterfield, Mowbray, Parent Chief is the other goalkeeper, Rattery Smith, Jade Simmons, Jade Simmons, Janai Simmons, the twins, Trot and Watson. So you have cover in the defense, you have cover to go up top, in the midfield as well. If she comes on tonight, she'll be making her debut for Bermuda, Mowbray. She had issues with getting a passport for Bermuda. She has Bermuda ties. She finally got it.
Where is she based?
She's in the U.S. in school, playing a lot of college football.
So I want to ask you, the players that are in college, they're now out of season.
But actually, what we're learning now is they have, which the schools don't really publicize a lot, they have off-season games. So teams like, I know Indiana, where Terrence Armstrong's son he's now playing. They're playing on a regular basis. So it's St. Thomas College. Those guys are playing in regular games now, but it's not
Right.
meaningful
Right.
games.
Those
So
are friendly. So
Yeah.
Those are more like kicks.
yeah,
It's not the same intensity as a league game.
right.
Well, what happens is, and because I played it in what you were speaking about when I was playing in the United States,
Mm-hmm.
in the off season, certain colleges that you played against also throughout from September to January, August to September, first week in September,
Mm-hmm.
1 week to November,
Right.
Those same colleges will have what they call little mini tournaments.
Yes.
And they invite you.
Mm-hmm.
And so the college, you guys college, you just accept, okay, we had to go play in Tennessee, I
Right.
think like now,
Right.
this time of year.
Yeah.
And then we had another tournament in, I think it was in Indiana. So
Mhm.
they do get, how often it's done, that's a question.
Yeah.
But colleges now do.
Because they're getting ready for the showcases.
Yeah, showcase.
Everybody's getting ready for
they do. A lot
showcases,
of colleges do have mini tournaments.
Mm-hmm.
Or what also happens though in places where there's real cold and they have snow, a lot of the off season from January to April becomes indoor games.
Yeah.
So which again is different.
Yeah. She actually goes to Dickinson College.
Where's that?
That's I think it's
Midwest team, is it?
yeah, I think that's is that Folly Dixon? I think that's they call them soccer college. I think that's
Let me see. What do they call them?
what's the
So that was where I was at going with the question, because a lot of all the season for the people that's in college, and then even the people that are playing the U.S. leagues, pro leagues that were
Yeah.
in preseason. So what I wonder is how fit are a lot of the players that are in that situation,
Right.
and does that itself, if they're not getting fit in preseason, is the possibility for injury higher?
Oh, it creates a big thing, because a lot of these players, if you're a professional you start thinking that you want to be fit for the start of the season because you're being paid. Getting injured, and like you said, it's a different mindset now for players. They want to play as much as they can. Getting in, pulling out of tackles and all of that, you could see that because they don't want to get injured. They want to play in that.
But you think about it with the under 15s, they qualified eventually.
Under
because-
17s,
Under
under 17s, yes.
And they drew the last game Panama,
Mm-hmm.
but they still qualified. It's going, the amount of young girls that are going to be up tonight.
Yes. Pennsylvania.
We definitely need more leagues. We need a league.
Yes.
Not just, I
Yes.
think you and I discussed that before
Mm-hmm.
about the one girls that play in school program, but
Yeah.
they're
Not
not
playing in club football. Yeah.
So that's something that has to be looked at. And but when you look at these when the girls are playing, the amount of young girls that come up,
Yeah.
and these jamborees which they have Kappa tournament.
Yes. Yes.
Well, and I think as we spoke about it before, that as a growing nation, that is so important. Continuously be playing, have organized, well, we said it's summertime,
Mhm.
summer camps, having good youth programs within the summer, people coming in from
I-
overseas.
Thinking about what we had a conversation before and thinking about it is most parents just want to see a organized, constructive program, and they'll feel comfortable in putting the kids in it. They want to make sure that it's reliable. You're going to have your training sessions on the days and the times that you're going to have it. But when you go to a program and you start at 6 and the coach is just setting up at 6 o'clock, or just coming, those type of things. People tend to, because you don't look organized. You don't look like you know what I mean. You could be the best coach out there, but if you're not organized and you're not got your drill set up, where you're at 6 o'clock, you start your session by talking about this is what we're going to do tonight, A, B, C, boom. So everybody knows what's going on. Even the parents are listening. You know what I mean? So
you said something interesting because we're talking about a women's league,
mm-hmm.
but we're talking about the impact of parents,
Yeah.
of the players. So
Yeah.
the senior league for women is much different from men
Yeah.
because there are a lot of, let's back about the word, children under 18s
Mhm.
playing in the senior league.
Yes.
So it's very different. So those players for the bulk of the league are more likely to be between 15 and 25.
Yes.
Whereas the men's league, the bulk of those players are between like 20 and 35.
Mhm.
They're older than the men. So we're dealing more with adolescents in the senior league.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
it's got to be a different structure.
Right. You gotta show that growth. You gotta show that it's vital that if I show up and I'm bringing my kid to play with a 25-year-old and she is 15, right? I want to make sure that because it looks like it's structurally set up and everything looks, I know my kid's gonna be safe in that, in that environment, because they're gonna get the proper coaching. They're gonna get all that is necessary from an outsider looking in. Now, whether or not that actually is the case,
Well, it's what we're talking about. We have education of coaches.
yeah,
When they do take, so what's most important, what they have to know. Those are very valid points that we're talking about in terms of structuring the programs in Bermuda at the grassroots level.
mm-hmm.
Let it be structured, not just having a kickabout, but you can, but it's got to be structured.
Yes,
And
yes.
there's so much opportunities in a country this size.
Mhm.
We don't, we spoke about this also. We don't have to travel far to get to the training grounds.
No,
It's just got to be the right organization. And parents travel up more. They see them up on TV,
mm-hmm.
and they watch. They've got a young daughter who's 12, and she's so football and
Yeah, passionate about it.
passionate about
Yeah.
it. They can go find games. They can find. You just can't. Again, getting back to what just.
The difference is when we were growing up, you could leave school or leave work and stop by somewhere and have a kick.
Find a kid.
Yes.
That was unorganized but structured.
Yes.
The girls were somebody's shoes.
That's right.
Jerseys.
Or something.
Somebody
Yeah.
taking from work.
Yeah. But it looked like it was a lot of guys on the field, which it was,
Yeah.
but it was structured. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you could go
You didn't need
guaranteed.
a ref.
No, and guaranteed 5:30 somebody was kicking. So it was always done at a time. You know what I mean?
But also, what it has to be taken into account. Let's see what the United States and the Canadians do summertime.
Mm-hmm.
Which I had spent some time with David Basketball
Right.
up in Harrisburg,
Mm-hmm.
and what his camps were about. Young girls, and
Yeah.
young girls and young boys, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But can you imagine it happening all over, not just in
Not
that
just-
part,
yeah,
Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
So it's important, and it's all structured. That's what the United States and Canada,
Right.
and you could bet that's happening in Mexico also.
Yeah.
With-
What are the things that, being that you brought it up, one of the things that I think we need to turn our attention to is we have kids that go and be part of other organizations for these tournaments, and I think it's good that they do that, because we just had some kids from Warwick Football Club, go away and be part of an organization winning tournaments and all that. But what we need to also look at is, instead of going to the tournament, why don't we go and train with them to get that grassroots and what they're doing to encourage all these kids
Yes.
to keep playing. I think we would be better off doing that than going to the tournament and say, oh, we won. I was part of people that I don't even know, we're just all a good team. But we need to learn what these countries, we need to go to a camp where USA is training. We need to go to a camp where Mexico is training. We need to be part of that training
That's
to
right.
see what their intensity is like, to see how they set up the stuff, to see how, a lot of, we talk about, our technical director and everybody going to a meeting. Well, we could all sit around a meeting and I could tell you what I'm doing, but if I don't show you what I'm doing, with the intensity of new players, regular players, all that type of stuff, we need to be involved in that to appreciate what they're doing and what we're doing.
A good point. And those discussions are here at bars.
Yeah, yeah.
But anyway, but the thing is, it's very important. Again, I'm not a subject that has to be addressed. Our preparation, who we learn from,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I think you're absolutely right about this. Instead of just going and playing the tournaments, we need to go see exact. Oh, for instance, let's go further than that. Let's go. What have the Norwegians done?
Yeah.
They're producing these sensational team. Haven't they qualified for the World Cup?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what have they done in the last 10 years? It will be interesting to see what they've done at the grassroots level.
Yeah.
But I bet you nobody will do
It's interesting to be over the last few years for the men's domestic league. There's been a requirement that all the coaches should be at
A certain
B
level.
level, whatever.
Yes.
Yeah.
Remember when they went through getting quote unquote mentors because some of the
Right.
coaches were not up to par.
Right.
Right.
So, what I think what normally happens for the women's league is whoever's available becomes the coach.
Left over. Yeah.
For the women's team, for the club. But so I don't think there's the same requirement for women's coaches because
Just at the national level. You have to, at the national level, you got to have X amount of.
so at club level
Mhm.
for new players, they're not getting
They're
the
not
same,
getting right.
same
Right.
coaching.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think that's a place to start to make
Mhm.
sure that they do get it. But I guess if you have no transportation and you're looking for a lift, you're taking the first team that comes across. So
Right.
like it's not, you can't be that picky about the coach you have because it's there.
If you're in that area and you're limited to what your resources can be, yes.
But it's again, there's so much discussion about where we are now. Get back to the women's game.
Mhm.
What more we need to do. So and again, we also talk about they want the sports that these girls will play at school also.
Right.
The football is playing rugby.
Yeah.
Also playing a little bit of cricket,
Yeah.
netball. The diversity of how many sports
Yeah.
are in
Yeah.
when they are played at school.
Mm-hmm.
So,
So
did you see what was happening when we walked into the stadium? The pool is full of children
Yeah.
training for swimming.
They got that national championships and they'll probably be training for curriculum.
So like the
Yeah.
other sports are focusing the funds and resources on development. So I think
Okay.
if the women's game is
So
really
so guess what?
Yeah.
The over there, structured. Everybody understands what you're doing because they put them to the side before they get in the pool. This is what we're doing tonight. This is what you're working on tonight. This is what, and that's why the parents will ensure that the child's there on time. They train at 6 o'clock in the morning, boys,
That's right.
before they go to school.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
But again, it's different taking an individual sport
Yes.
and comparing it with a team sport.
Right.
It's a lot more moving parts.
Yes. But it's what that individual wants to get out of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because although I might be on your team, I might want a little more for myself than you. So now, every week I go out, I want to be recognized by the national coach. You just want to care.
But
And I think
by the same token, you could get one exceptional swimmer that wants to, all right, I'm coming at 5:30.
Right.
They all the effort, they can turn it into a gold medal.
Yes.
If you have two players that do that, you can't win a gold medal in football with two players.
Diego
like-
Armando Maradona.
You wait for another lightning bolt to strike.
it's all the same. The race cars you put together. You have a great engine.
Yeah.
Put all the parts and you this way, and then you have a great driver. And then all the parts come together. And I think to put it simply,
Mm-hmm.
what we were talking about, with the girls' game, and I think we're touching on issues that have to be addressed.
Yes.
And considering that we stay at this level, we don't start to drop off. This group of girls cannot be just the animal. I think
Mm-hmm.
with the young under 17 team, what they achieve,
Yeah.
right? They'll get into another part. So that pushes us to a level non-committal to say, listen, we're gonna come up with more structured programs in football. And then, discussions gotta be held. So that when we do come to these games like now, I'm not saying we're not ready tonight,
Right.
but more the girls are playing in bigger teams overseas,
Mhm,
of course,
mhm.
and whether it's Europe or United States or Canada.
Yes.
And that's what we gotta be heading for.
And I keep saying that, Punchy, is that we should be looking, our players should be looking to get into divisions closer to home because they're respected. Years growing up, everybody said, "Oh, you have to go to England to be respected to play football." And then if you look at the US, the MLS, the USL, remember the Hogs were in the USL, and we struggled in that because we in our minds we don't give them the credit of what they're capable of doing structurally.
Yes.
When we started to compete properly against them, that's when the funding ran out. But imagine if mindset would have been, yes, this is where we need to be. This is where we need to be playing. The level of football, although it was played in the summer, the minute the season started, it would have rose because you had different guys playing from different clubs. They had been up to that level, and you saw the difference in the start of the season. They were a little fast on the ball. The decision making was a little better. But if we keep thinking, oh, we got to go to England, then the opportunity of playing in the US or even in Canada, we're missing it.
Yeah, especially for young girls.
Yeah.
Especially for young girls. But again, you guys, we're a team, and we're talking about all these things that we need to possibly keep doing or add to the programs. So again, when we get to a game like tonight,
Mm-hmm.
just how well suited we are technically, physically, and mentally.
Mm-hmm.
That's all been prepared. But now already because they're playing at these levels,
Right.
and they know what's expected of them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that these girls they don't know what's expected of tonight, but this is a huge task.
Yes. Yeah.
What is the skipper play? Because
In the UK.
In
in the UK,
Yeah.
Yes.
Sudbury
Sudbury.
River. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're having a difficult season. Last season they were amazing. They just missed the playoffs. This year they're hoping to avoid the relegation. As Ava said during our football show, they're just got to sort some things out administratively and coaching wise. The girls are trying their best, but obviously there's some things going on.
Yeah, I just also did Nesbitt, I think.
Leilani?
Yeah, she's not in the team. She's not in.
Yeah, she withdrew herself from the team just prior to the first two games, and she hasn't
play decision or injury.
play a decision. Don't know why the player made that decision, but you want to wish somebody all the best because she's going into her last contract season with Chicago, playing for Bermuda would have been a good opportunity for her to be either scouted by another club or give Chicago another option, because she was playing left back for Chicago. She couldn't get into that midfield duo kind of thing. I don't know what the thought
So
was.
that's probably where a lot of the male professional players are. They have to juggle. Am I trying to get into my team or get risk by doing away? So they fight with that. I'm
Yeah.
going to call it a moral dilemma
Yes.
of what to do.
Yeah. Well, we can hear the horns going off, so it's got to be close to time where the teams will be coming out. So we're got about 2 minutes left. I want to say to the
I want to ask them, so home games are what you want to have, which is supposed to have some sort of advantage.
yes.
How much of a role, because we saw the parking lot starting to fill up, but we haven't been outside for a while. How much of a role do you think the crowd is going to play?
Well, I had spoken to the president when I arrived, and he said they're anticipating just over 1,000 tonight. To be honest, I don't think that's enough.
Correct.
People are saying they want to see quality football. Here's an opportunity, even if you're not coming to watch the local girls. Here's an opportunity to see the third-ranked team in public eye. You know what I mean? Something to aspire to. Bring your kid out. Now let's watch what they do.
Yeah.
Let's also watch what Bermuda does, but let's watch what they do. There's opportunities lost for the amount of people that play the game. See, a lot of people, I'm going because I'm going to lose. That's not how you evaluate things. What can I learn from this? And even our coaches, even our players, what can I learn from that team that I could take back to my club?
Oh, that's so. I'm so glad. Griff touched on that something you're touching on it. Like the players, the team, the players that play in the Premier League here, right? I'm so that I see abominable, clubs represented because there's something you can learn
Yes.
from watching this game, whether it's Costa Rica or Bermuda,
Right.
and how what we're good at, what we're not good at.
Mhm.
But I think the sports gotta come like that. What we're speaking about,
Yeah.
man. Because you think your team, like Wolves in the Premier Division. I was like, I changed it because I'm Wolves and I'm on the bottom, but the people in Wolves not gonna show up to the games.
Yeah.
No, I just think that's what we're talking about, these issues that have to be addressed and talked about. And you guys are, I think we're touching on some things that need to be. You heard people talking about, like you said. I heard this so much, y'all.
Right.
You probably too.
The first thing
But I
they
can't come
want
up.
to do, get rid of the coach. The coach is taking them as far as they can. Get rid of the coach. Get rid of this person. Get rid of that person. But come out and support. Come out and show your support.
Yeah.
So how do we fix the apathy or develop more patriotism?
I'll tell you what. First things first, and a lot of people might not agree with this. We need our own national anthem that we play.
I think a lot of
Everybody
people agree with you on that,
should
yeah.
know it to be able to sing it. You look at these other players from other countries, when their anthem's on, they're singing with passion and pride. We have people just zip because they don't know these songs. There's nothing gripping them.
Well, you saw that. Didn't you see that last night?
Yes, we have to. Nothing bigger or better than national pride. And if we have to play God Save the Queen at certain games, but we could play another anthem that we have that everybody knows. And you go to a preschool in the USA, they sing the Star Spangled Banner. You know what I mean? That's pride right from the start.
Well,
And that's what we need. Once we have pride in our country,
yes.
not just saying it, but actually showing it, then things will grow.
And that's a good point again. Look what the West Indies do. Look at the
Yes.
West Indian song.
Yeah.
The I-20.
They created a song for it. Yeah.
Yeah, very good job. All that's got to be addressed because when again, what you say, I always watch that when people when we're lining up and our national anthem is played, like even the last night, or yesterday afternoon, and young guys at the answering my course, right?
Yeah.
But they really
Because that's what they're told to do.
Yeah. But then
You gotta
exactly.
respect
Yeah.
them.
Yeah, but you felt that. Are they
I'm
passionate
not
about
embracing
it?
it.
Yeah.
You get that.
Because
Yeah.
it's not.
That's where it starts.
Yes.
That's where it starts. We have to have some pride in our country and understand that's where it starts. And that, guess what? That's off the field. Imagine what it's like when they get on the field.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's exactly it.
Again, it's that time. It's game time, gentlemen. We want to wish the women's national team all the best against Costa Rica. We'll be back on Sunday with another edition of the football show, and we'll have some wrap up of this particular match. Probably we have the coach join us, and we'll take it from there. So, folks, it is game time. Enjoy the rest of your night.
Bermuda.